It's Monday, February 8th, and this is The Street Live. I'm Catherine Ross, and I am joined, as always, by Jim Cramer. Jim, it's post-Super Bowl, so how are you approaching the markets today?
Well, look, I'm a huge believer in the liquidity, in the momentum, and in the fact, just so you know, that we are having, as my friend Bob Sassani was saying, it's a worldwide rally. I mean, I wake up, Japan's up 2%. I see Europe's up. There's no reason. Oil's up. That's been a sign of health of the economy. So there's no reason for the market to go down necessarily. My friend Larry Williams does so much great technical work, always reminds me that unless we have some sort of shock of unemployment, which we didn't have last week, unless we have some sort of like definitive, like systematic thing like we had 2007, 2009, then the shortest distance, this smoothest distance, the one with least resistance is up. I'm taking advantage of that. And I'm making a point that as we open, as the economy opens, you're going to continually get new people saying, wow, this is an opportunity. And people are taking the opportunity in some of our favorite names for action alerts. And I feel terrific about it. Some of our names are really, flying today, particularly the financials, where we made that very big bet on Wells Fargo during the conference call 2 weeks ago. And I'm gratified. Last week, I'm gratified to see a lot of those ideas are paying off even as we talk. DuPont and Wells Fargo being the two best.
So let's talk about another stock that you really like, Jim. And this is actually, you interviewed the CEO on Friday for Mad Money, and I'm talking about Estee Lauder and CEO Fabrizio Freda. Now, Jim, between people putting on makeup for their Zoom meetings and the sales in Asia going up, is there anything right now that prevents you from saying right here and right now that Estee Lauder is a buy?
No, Estee Lauder is a remarkable company. I've known Fabrizio Freda for a very long time. He has taught me. He's a teacher. His conference calls, we talk about what moves stocks and how to get people to understand a stock and what moves a company. His conference calls are the best conference calls of anyone right now, really by far. And they detail far more than you would think most people get. And he has 10 brands that are up double digit. He has amazing numbers in Asia, from 7 to 27% in China coming back. As travel goes up, his biggest, best places to buy things are the duty-free stores. So that's only going to get better and better. The Zoomy generation requires a lot of makeup. And because you require a lot of makeup, you really need a lot of skincare. And the most great margin stuff on skincare. Skincare is just incredible for him. By the way, some of the more famous brands like MAC, they make a ton of money on too. And so you had the selfie generation, which is now back in force in China. You've got the Zoom generation. And then anyone who's on the Snap call last week recognizes it's 5 billion pictures. Well, those all need makeup. So you've got this pent-up demand for makeup. It turned out to be an inside story because of Zoom, an outside story because of selfie. The China market is back, and a lot of things that and I'm going on at length of this because I did want to buy this thing for action alerts. We did miss it. It's up 8 points, but I do think it's going to 300. I'm going to try to wend its way into the bullpen. It's just an extraordinary name. I've liked it for so long. It's never gotten cheap. Maybe it's just not going to get cheap.
So, Jim, another stock that just keeps going up is Tesla, and there was actually a huge news release from an announcement made from the Securities and Exchange Administration today. So Tesla did buy $1.5 billion of Bitcoin and said that it plans to soon accept Bitcoin as payment, which is interesting enough. But Jim, you've been bullish on Bitcoin for a while now. Yeah. Is this move pushing Bitcoin more into the mainstream to you?
Well, I think it is, and so did PayPal last week on some amazing quarter. We own MasterCard for action alerts. They're doing work with crypto. They just don't talk about it as much as they should. Look, I bought and recommended to viewers to buy Bitcoin when it dropped to 12,000. Obviously, it's not 1,200, but you can't catch the bottom. I recommended 12,000. They switch some of their gold, which I've always felt is important allocation, to Bitcoin. And of course, I do exactly what I said. I regard it as a cash equivalent. Obviously, this cash went up big. And that was not my intent. My intent was there would be a storehold of value. In no way did I ever buy gold with the idea that gold would double. This ended up, I guess it's tripled. And I took some off. Why? Because I'm a trader at heart, in the sense that I wanted to take my capital out. And then once the capital came out, then I'm just going to let it run. So I feel pretty good today. Do I think that Tesla did the right thing? Absolutely. I don't know why I've always felt that companies should do more with their cash than just keep it in short term. I used to run the cash management for TheStreet. There's a period where I didn't. And I regret that because people took some great liberties. But the period where I did, I exercised what I thought was caution. And nothing that should impact things. But I certainly was willing to, if there was a piece of paper that I thought was right, I might use it as part of what of my pastiche of managing cash. I think that Tesla is using crypto as a correct currency. If they're going to be trading in currency, buying cars in currency, they better show the faith that they really believe in currency as part of a cash equivalent. The fact that it's upside is really great. So I completely applaud Tesla. Once again, they're at the forefront. I don't think it's, some people were saying, well, why didn't Elon Musk disclose it? I mean, I don't know if there's there are only a few more vocal bulls about Tesla than Elon Musk. This Dogecoin thing, I don't know. I mean, look, if people want to buy Dogecoin because Elon Musk said it, well, Elon Musk said buy Tesla. There are a lot of people on Wall Street, if they said buy Tesla, and then their next idea was to buy DuPont, you'd buy DuPont, believe me. So I find the synergies between what Elon Musk stands for and what Tesla's doing with its balance sheet, and what PayPal is saying people want. Dan Schulman, obviously being a very enlightened fellow, makes this thing kind of not ho-hum, but like, of course.
I think that this is going to make the discourse around cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in general very interesting in the coming months. So I'm looking forward to that. Jim, looking also forward to a different topic that we're going to be discussing in the next couple of months and possibly longer depending on this, but South Africa has paused its AstraZeneca vaccine rollout after a study, which I do want to add was quite small, showed that the vaccine did provide less protection against the South African variant. This comes as Moderna's, they're making a booster shot for this. So I want to note that AstraZeneca has not been approved in the United States, but does the South African variant, Jim, add a new concern around an eventual return to normal? And is this concerning at all for investors?
I think it should be. And the reason why I think it should be is because one thing we learned from the last go around was things spread much faster. And so it's a foot race between the vaccine, which is doing well. I mean, Dr. Gottlieb was talking about on CBC that we could have a glut of vaccines by the second quarter. But at the same time, a lot of people aren't taking it seriously. At the same time, there are people who are going to get this South African before they get their second shot, the first shot, or even their first shot. And it makes it so it's very clear that what we've got here is a flu that can be deadly. I have Veru on tonight, which is a small company, and Veru is very important because they put out a release today that talks about saving people's lives who have lung problems from COVID. And I think it's important because, remember, once you're in the hospital, people are still dying, and they're dying because of complications like from lung problems. That's why I think Veru is a very important company. And I mention it because you have this slippery slope where we think that we're dropping in the number of cases, which we are, but we're not dropping the number of deaths. So we've got to figure out, if you get it, how to get a therapeutic. If we get it, how to get you out of the hospital. That's why J&J, even though the results weren't as good as Moderna and Pfizer, should be approved today. I mean, the FDA, this is a sham as far as I'm concerned. Just to prove it, we need it. We need more shots because the South African is spreading fast.
Jim, I want to give you some credit here. Now, I was looking at your Real Money column, and you kind of hit the nail on the head right now when you said, and I'm quoting, if it is so darned positive to get so many people into the market, then how have we so quickly gotten off course? Now, for those who are not reading your column on Real Money, which you guys should, it's on realmoney.com, can you give us an explanation of what regulators should do to fix markets technology in your eyes?
Well, I mean, regulators need to make it so that one of the things that Vlad Tenev said, I wish he hadn't said it in the time he did because he was busy closing people from doing trades, is we got to find out what people own. And a lot of what happened here is we didn't know what people owned. We didn't know what people shorted. The technology of closing a stock, of buying and getting the stock in your account, is like a checking account technology, but it could be done instantly. People use this term blockchain. I don't care about what chain. I just think that if we clear trades so that I bought something right now, in the time, for instance, that I took my COVID test, and I just came out tested negative. I started at 10:30. My test, by the way, is the COVID-19 self-test. It could cost the government $2 billion. We could test every single day before we go to work. I like to test every single day. And it should be easier to buy a stock than it should be to self-test, but it's not. We need to make it so that an individual understands what they're getting into. And in order to make that happen, you really have to have the individual know what they own and what they don't. And if they don't, that's the government's job, because the industry itself is going to do as long as it takes, because they make more money the longer it takes. So it's like a hidden tax on the consumer. And obviously, we want to know whether you're getting best price. Best price is not it can be a price minus the cost of order flow, because Robinhood has to buy order flow. Robinhood fluid. It gives its orders, it gets money, and what happens with that money is it may be a tax basically on the customer. I don't think it is, but we need to see trust. We need to see Robinhood generate trust, and then democracy. We need to see the regulators press down to get it so that the trade closes on a ridiculously long period of time. No, a very short period of time, and then people should feel much more confident. And that's what we need, is confidence in the markets.
Jim, all this Wall Street Bets thing that started about 2 or so weeks ago, there's one point that you and I haven't really covered that I want to hit on, and that has to do with analyst notes, because one of the old things about analyst notes is that Wall Street customers and institutional investors tend to get them, and the media gets them, and we report on them, right, but they're not always readily available for the public. However, in the past 2 weeks, this research has all been based on Wall Street Bets, which is a public. Anyone can go to Wall Street Bets and see what people are investing in. So, Jim, let's look into the future here. How can Robinhood and Wall Street Bets change the way that Wall Street does its research, and can it change how available Wall Street's research is?
First of all, I think it's terrific. I think the whole so-called revolution is great. I've always wanted more people in the market. Many people who call on Mad Money are merry men, people or enthusiasts. I just think it's great. There's been led by Warren Buffett and the late John Bogle, a belief that people are not smart enough to manage their own money. I think that but what they really meant was that funds that charge a lot of money tend not to beat the market. No one's really saying that an individual with a great idea, a la Tesla, it should not buy Tesla. I mean, I think if they call that single stock risk, the advertisers, because they want you to put money in their index funds. So I support the Robinhood movement, provided that there's as much trust as possible in what you own. I support Reddit because they are a disseminator. I like dissemination. I read Reddit for a long time before any of this happened. I support Wall Street Bets in the sense that it gives people enthusiasts, as long as it's not a pump and dump, because pump and dump's illegal. It gives enthusiasts more of an idea, more of a series of ideas. Palantir this morning is an enthusiast stock. It makes a deal with IBM. People like it. There's nothing wrong with enthusiast stocks. Enthusiasm got Tesla where it is. So I'm in favor of all these. I just don't want pump and dump. That's where you recommend something and then you sell it in the recommendation. I think that what the Reddit people did, what Wall Street Bet people did with realizing the situation with GameStop was ideal for the individual investor. I'm in favor of the individual investor. Periodically, people say I'm not. I've exposed more shenanigans than anyone on Wall Street, including the SEC. I've even talked about stuff that I saw directly that I did not do. But I've done everything I can to try to root out as much chicanery and give people a level playing field. I think that's my whole career has been devoted to that. Even while I was a hedge fund manager, because I started TheStreet.com 25 years ago. And it's very important for people to recognize that my goal is to make it so that the more level the playing field, the better. I think Reddit helps level the playing field. I think Wall Street Bets help level the playing field. I think Robinhood helps level the playing field, but it must be trustworthy and there cannot be pump and dump.
Jim, on Mad Money last Friday, you specifically went through the companies that are reporting earnings, and there's a whole slew, and then we also have the impeachment hearing. So, Jim, I have to ask, what's the one most important thing to watch this week?
It's still vaccine. We need to see the numbers better. We need to see more therapeutic. We need vaccine. In order to justify the continual move in oil, we need to see more economic activity. In order to justify a lot of the retail stocks that are moving, we need to see continuation of economic activity. Any setback that indicates a sudden spike in the South African or anything that makes it so that we look like, once again, that we don't have enough vaccines is going to make it so that it's a much more problematic situation. So that's still one in my mind. It's also number 2, 3, 4, because if we do get stimulus or if we don't get stimulus, there'll be more economic activity with vaccine than there would be from stimulus. I'm a sightseer when it comes to the impeachment process, but there was an excellent article by a Republican lawyer in the Wall Street Journal today saying how legitimate it is. I am always surprised that the Republicans have stuck by a man that caused an insurrection to try to take over the Capitol of the United States. That's not left or right. That's treason. And by the way, if anyone doesn't think it's treason to try to take over the Capitol, well, read Lincoln. Read what Lincoln has to say about the Capitol and protecting Washington from the Confederacy. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It was the number one concern by Lincoln, protecting the Capitol from the Confederacy. they let whoever it was, whether it was Trump, the federal government, whatever, they violated Lincoln. And if you have a problem with Lincoln, you really should move to another country.
All right, so Jim, over on our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show today, I want to talk to you about some earnings that we have coming up after the bell, which include Take-Two and Dow. So with that, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching today, Jim. Thank you for joining. And I'm Catherine Ross, and we'll see you tomorrow.